and welcome back to part 2 of the Gary Numan singles kind of crate digging that I've been doing. And actually this one's going to be a lot shorter because there was a whole load I couldn't find. I don't know why. As I say, they may be over my mum's in storage in the garage, I don't know. But there's, you know, like Warriors and Sister Surprise, Love Needs No Disguise, I Can't Stop, Radio Heart, all those things, and they're in a singles. Anyone old enough will remember at Christmas, exciting things you used to get in the 80s were record cases with a handle that you could just push the popper in, lift up, and it was an LP one or it could be a singles one. So you could chuck them all in there. That was a good present from an auntie or an uncle. And also VHS cassettes, like a pack of 4 or 5 VHS to record all your favourite programmes, you know. Anyway, it's one of those record cases, but I just can't find it. I've looked everywhere here. I don't know, it's here somewhere, but I just can't find it. Anyway, so I've just got a few here. As I say, some of them I'd love to talk about, like Berserker and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, I will find them, so maybe they should be volume 3, because I've certainly got enough of them. But starting with this one, where we're at, and also thank you for the people that watched the first one. Really good. I've got a few comments. And it's up to 100 or something people have seen it, so that's not bad, you know. And please feel free to like, share and subscribe, all the usual things, please, because it helps to grow the channel and everything else. So anyway, so as I say, this is in no particular order. I just dug them out and this is what we've got. So first up is My Dying Machine, which is a fantastic tune, I believe. And on the B-side, one of my favourite B-sides, Here Am I think the riff of this is really, really cool. And I used to go on long journeys with my dad for his work. And I'd sometimes bring along like a mixtape, which didn't always go down well. But I remember I did a version of Here Am I, where I just played the riff over and over again with a little bit of the chorus and then whatever. But as I said before on the last video, some of the B-sides Numan has done, I've got really good riffs, good synth riffs, or guitar riffs, or both. Whatever, or sax riffs, whatever. But sometimes the singing or the lyrics weren't quite up to scratch and it felt a bit like a B-side. And this one I put along in that category, as well as She Cries Like I Do, which is good. I love that, but that's only got elements of it which are really good. And I feel some of the rest of the song is treading water a little bit. As I say, it's highly subjective, just my opinion. I'm not saying they're not good songs, but they're maybe not thought about as a complete arrangement, you know, to me. Anyway, but the B-sides of this era, and I think that was on, was that Berserker, She Cries, maybe? It was around this time anyway, with the blue makeup and the Numa label, which was his own record label, of course. And there's My Dying Machine. And Here Am I. So yeah, I do like the B-sides of this era. I think they're good, as I say. But they don't really seem to be complete arrangements, you know, thought about completely. Again, not thrown together either. I don't know, maybe some of you will understand what I mean. Elements of really good songs in there and then bits where it just didn't seem to, like I say, treading water, nothing really seemed to happen. But anyway, I still love this period. I remember him on Top of the Pops with this blue makeup on. Very striking, and this image here, very menacing image. And on the Berserker tour, which I think was a really well-attended tour in the UK. I think it was virtually sold out every gig, I think, with maybe, you know, 5 gigs or something at Hammersmith Odeon. He used to do a whole run of gigs there. And I think the Warriors tour was even more, and that was the year before this. So this is 84, and Warriors was 83. But yeah, really, really good. My Dying Machine, great song. It's sort of another one of those, I feel, dystopian, sort of Blade Runner type vibes. And I was talking to a friend of mine about this the other day, and I think this period of time was really heavy. If you think about what else was in the charts at this point, once again, he was going against the grain a little bit by playing this synth stuff really heavily, you know, much heavier than some of the other stuff that was around. And I know sort of Trent Reznor and those people talk about Replicas and Pleasure Principle and Telecon as being massive influences, which they undoubtedly are. But I think the harshness of the drum sounds on this and the synths, you know, really started more industrial kind of dark wave, if you like, or whatever, industrial sounds. But this is good, and there was a 12-inch as well, which I've also got somewhere, and there was a German release that was another 12-inch that was a bit rare, and it was on the Numan album compilation of all the artists on the Numa label. I've got that as well somewhere, and that was really good. But I think my favourite version of it is the album version. It just seems to work. I know it's too long for a single version, but the album version on Berserker of My Dying Machine I think is killer. I think it's really, really good. So yeah, great single. If I was going to play one side, I had a choice, it'd be My Dying Machine, I think. But as I say, there are some elements of this song that I really, really like, and I love the riff. I just think it's really cool. Okay, and that did chart, but I don't think it got very high. But I think he did appear on Top of the Pops with it once, I think. Maybe as a chart breaker or something. Okay, we're moving back now to 1982. White Boys and Heroes. With, of course, the amazing Chris Slade on drums. And we have Pino Palladino. And, of course, for the tour, we have Robert Dean coming into the scene from Japan. The band Japan, who I'm happy to say Robert has been involved in a project we did for the Cedric Sharpley Foundation, raising money for the drumming bursary. I had a few Zoom calls with him, and he's a fellow Beatles fan, so that's cool. A really interesting guy and a great musician, so yeah. And the B-side War Games, which actually I cannot remember how that goes. So I cannot comment on War Games, I'm afraid. I haven't played that for a long, long, long time. But the label, oh, this really is dirty. Oh dear. The label is the sort of dance I Assassin period. And of course, this was from the album I Assassin. And War Games, which I really, as I say, I can't comment on that. I really can't remember. Anyway, but White Boys and Heroes, I always remember the two videos they had. I'm sure there was two videos for Top of the Pops. When he was in a Jeep driving around with a rifle and stuff, which is all a bit weird. And Numan fans know about that whole period of him touring the States. There's plenty of stories online from Robert Dean and other people talking about that. Chris Slade's drumming, I guess, being a drummer here, I should mention. I really like his playing. And on Top of the Pops, he had those, can't think what they're called, but the drums which come down and then fan out. They're like fiberglass and they're open-ended. And they just sound horrible, I think. But they looked great. And I've seen him in a few studios. And actually, a friend of mine, Ken Dewar, owns one. And I still haven't been over to see it yet. I'd like to see what it sounds like. I bet the bass drum's pretty cool. But I bet the toms are a bit boxy. But anyway, I always remember Chris Slade using those on the video. I don't think he used them on the tour, or did he? I need to see more pictures of the I Assassin American tour. But yeah, interesting. But his drumming, fantastic. All over this album, along with the LM1 drum machine. I just think, yeah, the live drums plus the Linn drum is just a brilliant combination, which of course Prince would borrow later on. And what's this, 82? So Prince, what was that, Controversy time? Just before 1999. So Prince would have been listening to this. And on the 12-inch version of White Boys and Heroes, this is interesting, I promise. On the album version, and it's probably the 12-inch version, I never bought the 12-inch single of this, if there was one. There's a fade out. Oh no, actually it's not that one. It's We Take Mystery to Bed. I'll talk about that in a minute. But there's a real Prince crossover moment, and I think Prince was listening to Numan, which we know he was. But yeah, White Boys and Heroes, great song. Another one of those, you know, that era of that kind of slurring words was starting to come in, and he's still using that kind of robotic voice idea that he'd always used, but the slurring thing was coming in a bit more now, which I like. It's kind of cool, a different phase of Numan's sort of vocal technique. And Pino Palladino, of course, plays riffs all over the album that make the songs really punch. I mean, they're great songs anyway. I quite like I Assassin as an album. People sometimes knock it and say it's not a high point. Maybe not a high point, but songs like This Is My House, and of course We Take Mystery, which we'll talk about because I've got that here, is a great song. And there's another song, Side One, which I really like, which I can't remember now, but it will come back to me. So yeah, White Boys and Heroes, good single. The image, yeah, not sure about this. I like the sort of trilby and the sort of 30s looking suits, but when it got into this, which is still kind of a crossover to that, I wasn't sure, but I think the hats were coming in a bit more because of the hair transplant and things, you know, that he was about to do or was doing. But yeah, good single anyway. I like it. It's stylized. He was moving forward with a different thing. And actually, let's not do that one exactly next. I'm just going to move that. There's only like 5 or 6. Next one up, Bombers. Now, I mentioned this in the first video. I love Tubeway Army. I'm going to admit to you that I've got no idea who Scarlett... Well, I think Scarlett's Paul Gardner, isn't it? But Rayal, I've got no idea who Rayal is. He's in the picture. I'm guessing that's him here, as Gary's pointing into the future with his cling film suit on. So I think that's Paul Gardner there. But yeah, I don't really know the members of the band. And I, as usual, in Rob fashion, I haven't done much research. I know that obviously Paul Gardner and Jez Lydiard, who was Gary's uncle, played drums on what I call the White Album, but was originally the Blue Album, the original Tubeway Army record. So this was one of the singles I bought in Music Market, which was the other shop in Bath I was trying to think of, which I'm sure was just around the corner from the Sam Weller's pub. And it was next to like a pasty shop or something, and it used to really smell in there, but it's very small. I remember going in there, it's Gary Numan, stroke Tubeway Army, and I mentioned in the last video, I was finding about 1980, 81, I was finding that there was other stuff in there apart from cars, real glass and bits and bobs. There was all these other things. I was like, oh, that is Numan, Tubeway Army, oh yeah, of course. So it's really exciting, you know, for a few weeks going in and picking up down in the park, Our Friends Electric, this. Yeah, it was great with my pocket money. But yeah, Numan looking pretty sassy there. This is a little collection. I think they were originally, I believe, released as individual singles. And then at some point, Beggars Banquet decided to put them together. I suppose when Gary was starting to sell some records, they decided to put them together as a double single idea, which is really cool. And my favourite of the 2 singles that are in here is this one, which is like the second of the 2, and I think it's the strongest. I don't know if, you know, let me know in the comments what you think. But Oh Didn't I Say, and That's Too Bad. I think with the right promotion and so on, these 2 songs were really, really good. They stand up. I love his vocal sound. I love his interpretation. I love the way the band sounds. I love the way it sounds on the edge. It's not done to a click, but that's okay. It's got a really exciting feel to it. The drummer is really giving it some with the fills, very punky, very naive sounding, which is, I guess, what punk was all about, really, the best punk. Not too sort of thought about or learned, you know, it's just get in there and whack it out. And the guitar sounds great. I love the sound of it. I think the sound is so good. It's kind of like that very fixed, you know, it's not very wide, it's just punk. Guitar, bass, drums, boosh, boom. And as I say, I love the way he expresses himself in the lyrics and the way that comes across. So many lines in there are iconic to me. I'm trying to think of an example now, as I'm saying that. But it's just the way he has got his own thing where he's doing that punky, not caring London accent, and then giving it little kind of inflections in the voice and in tone, and also in range, which I really like. I think that's appealing. And it's also on the Tubeway Army first album, so on Replicas. Not so much on Pleasure Principle. It kind of changed, he changed the style for that, obviously, and then Telecon, and then it kind of disappears a little bit. But yeah, and I love the lyrical content of this stuff, as I do the original Tubeway Army album, or the White Album, Blue Album, whatever you want to call it. This early stuff is really appealing to me, hence why I was going to do a video just on that at one point, that early period. Bombers, Blue Eyes, and OD Receiver on this side. Not so fond of. I play them occasionally. I don't go back to them very often. Probably because I don't like them. That must be it. You only play music that you like, right? There's something about that. I prefer the Bombers that was on the B side of Complex, which I spoke about in the last video, with the Compure rhythm and Cedric Sharpley doing those lovely concert tone fills and stuff. I think that's more of a vibe for me with the synths and making it darker. This version is obviously more punky. It is what it is. And it just shows that you can take any song and reinvent it any which way you want. It could be a dance track if you want. It could be anything, you know, with the interpretation and the instrumentation of what you do. Blue Eyes, the audio receiver, don't really recall But yeah, I mean, for me, it could easily have been, this one could have been like, oh yeah, not bad. But then this one is like, yes, this is a must. And apparently, I think he was doing these songs on the Telecon tour that he's just done. Is that right? I think he is. I saw some clip of him saying that's all the Telecon songs we know from that period, and now we're going to do some really old stuff. And I'm sure he would have gone back to doing this, which I wish I'd heard, because I bet it's really heavy now, doing stuff like that with the sort of band and the lineup he's got at the moment and the sounds at his fingertips now. It would be huge. But yeah, I like it, and I like the whole Tube Boy Army idea. These guys cruising around on the tube, you know, scaring people and being a gang or whatever they were. I mean, the idea is cool. I do like it. Tube Boy Army rules. Yeah, nice cover art, window smash, look. It's punk, it's 1979, 78 probably. But yeah, if you know these other guys in the picture, I'm sure it's on Wikipedia, but yeah, please put comments below. But yeah, that's too bad. And if someone said, which one would you play, A or B side? It's like a double A side, isn't it? I'd have to play them both and be greedy. I like them both. Right, We Take Mystery to Bed, another 1982 single from I Assassin. B side, The Images. I don't recall, again, I'm afraid. Don't remember. I think, is it an instrumental? Can't remember. And I wasn't going to spin them. The whole idea was to talk about them off the cuff to see what I remembered and what I preferred. But again, very dusty. This hasn't been played for a very long time and not stored very well. As I say, record collectors always message me and say, you should look after your records. I know maybe I should. But you know, this is a loved collection, a loved and played collection, taken to friends' house, you know, to play at little get-togethers. I would have been 12 years old, so we would have been hanging out at friends' houses, playing our parents' records, thinking we were really cool, finding Yes albums for the first time, and Sgt. Pepper or something, and then Jimi Hendrix, and playing stuff, and sitting around drinking little bottles of French beer or something, thinking we were really cool, until our parents got home, and then we quickly run away pretending nothing had happened. But yeah, love this image. I think this is good. This sort of Bogart 30s, 40s look, I think is really cool. And I like that leather. That would have been very expensive, that leather coat. That's like a trench coat. That's a lot of leather. That's expensive, bro. We Take Mystery. I was talking about a single a moment ago. And I like We Take Mystery because it's got a really interesting outro on the album, not on the single version. And again, it's another one of those songs where he's slurring in the chorus. You don't know quite what he's saying. But again, it creates a mood. Fantastic. Pino Palladino, great bass line. Obviously, Chris Slade pumping drums, really, really good. Numan doing his synth stuff all over it and guitar. But when you get to the, well, I should imagine it's the 12-inch version as well. But on the towards the end of the album version, which is the long version, it breaks down into like a funky ding 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 ding. Right, with a Lynn clap sound, which of course Prince would borrow. So this is 1982, and I was thinking it's between like controversy time for Prince and 1999, the double album. And he could well have been listening to this album at that time, because there's the bit at the end of 1999, the 12-inch and the album version, which is slower than We Take Mystery. Prince has taken 1999 at a bit of a slower pace. But there's a bit towards the end where the voice comes on saying, don't worry. Oh, no. Oh, Mummy, why has everyone got a bomb? That bit at the very end. Mummy, why does everybody have a bomb? And he's got like a very high-pitched voice. But the guitar and what the Lynn drum is doing and the clap and everything is really like the last section of We Take Mystery before it goes back into the main theme and fades. So if you haven't heard it for a while, go and give it a listen, and then go to the end of the album version of 1999 and see what happens. It's a very, very similar arrangement. As I say, the tempo makes it different. You know, it might be in a slightly different key or something, but that doesn't matter. But it's the ding, ding, ding. It's the funky kind of Nile Rodgers Prince guitar going on, with the Lynn drum and everything else, and the mood. Anyway, give it a listen. But We Take Mystery is a great single. As I say, Images I can't remember, so I can't comment on that one. So obviously it's not very outstanding for me. So if I was going to have to play the A or B side for this, it'd always be We Take Mystery to Bed. I think it's brilliant. Again, a great video, and I think similar period as White Boys and Heroes, obviously, from I Assassin, 82. He was in America, and I think there's two videos that Top of the Pops used. One was in a studio and one was in a car, I think, driving around LA or whatever, I seem to remember, or New York, wherever they were. And maybe they do go into a studio and play from that video, I can't remember, but yeah, there's something about that which I think is pretty cool. Okay, so I'm just getting some messages. Right, and last up, I'm afraid, yeah, because I can't find the rest at the minute. I bought this when I saw Numan play. He played the night before Susie Sue's gig in Glasgow, a venue that's not there anymore. Had a massive, like, disco ball, huge, in the middle of the room. I can't think what it's called, but I've been told it's been knocked down and they've all revamped it or something. Maybe not knocked down, but revamped it. And he was playing the night before, and we got up there the night before that, I think. So we were there for like 3 nights, and after we played, we went on to our next venue, wherever we were going. And that was on the Susie Sue Manta Ray tour, so that's 2006, 7 or 8 or 9, somewhere around there. So I went to see Gary. Got some free tickets, so I went along. The rest of the band were going to come, but they ended up getting the train into Edinburgh. They missed out, though Edinburgh is beautiful. But yeah, it was the Replicas anniversary tour. Or would it have been 30 years or something? Replicas, I don't know, something like that. And they reissued this really cool picture disc, which I picked up from the merch stand, obviously, and a t-shirt, which is now, well, faded and been worn away. I don't wear it anymore, but it's like an outtake of the Replica session. Looking quite happy there. Not as ominous as the actual image on the album. But yeah, this is great. A little anniversary thing. I mean, it's in one of these plastic sleeves, which I must change so it can breathe. But yeah, what have we got? We've got 2 classic singles from Replicas, Our Friends Electric and Down in the Park, which I've spoken about before. Both 2 Numan slaying tunes, just amazing. They're always going to stand up. Don't need to talk about those, we know we like those. But I just wish I had other stuff. I've got a signed Numan Berserker face-shaped disc as well somewhere. That my friend Gareth Davies got me. Anyway, there's loads of Numan stuff, but I just thought I'd just share those with you. It's kind of the last ones I can do for a while, because I need to find that record box to find out where those other singles are. But yeah, going through this has been really fun for me, because it's brought back a lot of memories of where I bought them, and most of these were bought in Bath, I think. That was Glasgow, obviously, at the Numan gig. That was Music Market in Bath, which no longer exists, of course. These 2, I'm sure, were Boots or W.H. Smith's in Bath, something like that. And this one is probably the same as well. Oh no, this is Rival Records in the corridor in Bath. And each one reminds me of my school life, my drumming life, you know, early days of Dad teaching me and taking these singles down into the garage, putting my headphones on and playing along and annoying my neighbours probably. But yeah, I mean, the singles, it was always exciting waiting for the next Numan single to come out. And it would always be a rush to the, the record shop to pick it up. So once again, if you've got any comments to make about these songs, these singles, if you have them, where you heard them, where you bought them. And someone asked the other day if I'll sell my collection. No, I won't. Not yet anyway. So I said some are really good condition like this, slightly ripped, but they're pretty good. But some are pretty abysmal like this. But as I say, they've been well loved. But I'm glad these videos are being watched and kind of well received. And if you want to make any comments, please leave them down below. It's always good to get some interaction going and meeting other Numanoid fans, other Numanoids and Numan fans from all around the globe. So if you saw the Telecom tour, nice one. I couldn't quite make that, and I've got my Telecom box set up there, which I think I've talked about once before. But anyway, yeah, troll through my channel and you'll find all the Numan related stuff. So as ever, thanks for tuning in. Keep playing Numan. Please like, share and subscribe. My voice is going again. Have a great day, and I've just put my Christmas tree up and put some lights up, so it's pretty Christmassy here at Chez Rob. And take care. You have a kicking Christmas if that's something you do, and I'll see you on the next video.